Hello, everyone. It's live at 5 Mondays on Facebook with Cheryl Millett. Welcome to, well, if you're in Toronto, it's very much a fall day. It's been raining all day, but what's good about rain? When we see that it's raining, it seems to be darker, so we'd rather have the sunshine. But rain has this negative charge. So quite often, it's how you look at anything, right? It's our perspective and what we define things. But think of rain. Rain is something we tend to get annoyed over because we get wet or because things get wet. But rain is like the shower is to our energy as the river, those things. So rain has, now they say negative charge, but that's a positive thing. That is actually a very positive thing for our healing potential. They call it like a negative charge. So let's welcome in the rain. It's been raining here in Toronto all day long, but it's really healthy, not just for the plants, but for all of us. So welcome rain. And let's appreciate any weather and every weather that can come down and respect it. What do they say about Mother Nature? I mean, we can't do anything about it, but to respect it. So if it's raining, or we have black ice or something like that, we really do have to respect what the weather has, has coming to us. Here's one of the things. Oh, hi, Annette. Hi, everyone. Here's one of the things I want to bring up today. Now, I'm kind of laughing because this is something I tuned into years ago, and it's something that I've used for many years for different circumstances, and I want to share it with you today. I think I've shared this with maybe a couple of people my whole life for the reason I have, and I want to tie it into sleeping as well. Because a number of people, when they're not healthy or they're on meds or they got a lot on their mind, their sleeping suffers. And sleeping is a very powerful time in our regeneration, or giving ourselves a break, a moment to just rest our body and regenerate and heal and detox and all that fun stuff. So here it is. Quite often, people have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And a couple of things I want to put out there, and then I'll tell you this one thing, is that before we go to bed at night, it would be trying to focus on not drinking a lot of water in the hours before you go to bed. Now, you may play with this. Sipping water is okay. You're dry. There may be reasons for drinking water. But play with this. Is it 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours? Is it don't drink water anytime after dinner time? I'm not sure when your dinner is. But just play with it and see if getting up in the middle of the night, whether it's once or twice, actually decline. So that's one thing. Now, what I was going to suggest, and what made me think about this thing that I learned, was that you could make sure that you empty your bladder before you go to bed. And there's a trick to this. Now, I can't really show you how to do it because that would mean I would be taking off my clothes to a certain extent. So I'm going to try to explain what I mean. There were times where you're going out, you're going to be in a situation where you don't get to go to the bathroom, and for some reason, I can't remember the day or how it came about, but for some reason there was a certain point that's right on the back part here, before the crack, I'll say that. There's a part just above it that if you tickle it, you actually go to the bathroom. And again, I do not remember. This is probably 30, 35 years ago that I actually discovered this. And so anytime I wanted to go to the bathroom because somebody's picking me up, and oh, you gotta, and then I would use this quite regularly. And it's just like a, like a little tickle. And again, it's about probably an inch or 2 inches, but it's that part right there, just above the ass crack, if I'm allowed to say that. And if you tickle that, that somehow releases the bladder. And and the reason why I'm sharing this is just not me, because I have shared it with a couple people for whatever reason. Say, well, I can't go. I don't feel like I have to go. And then I would tell them because they're sitting in the washroom. And then it would work. It would work. So before you go to bed, try to empty your bladder by doing that. And let me know how it works out, because it has worked for me all these years. And the couple of people that I felt I needed to share it, because I really don't think about it much, that it did work for them as well. So when you go to bed and we go to sleep at night, you do want to have an empty bladder, but you don't want to be drinking lots of water, but that's a way to empty it. But play with that, because it is something that has helped me. Even when I was on the Ireland trip, as we would stop and everybody's going to the washroom, so I kind of go every other time. But just at that time, I would use it, just why not? And it would get rid of whatever's there. It worked well. So I look forward to you trying that. That would be very interesting to see if it works for more people. So yeah, hello everyone. The other thing that I had thought of, because it was at my father's, and you make things over and over again, you just know it off by heart. But I was exposing Irish soda bread to a few people the last couple of weeks. I would just make it in their home. And I was up at my dad's, and my dad is type 2 diabetes, as a lot of people are. And he, his first question to me was, does it have sugar in it? And no, it doesn't have sugar in it. So Irish soda bread doesn't have sugar. Like a number of breads, we're starting to add it in, a little bit by sweetness. It doesn't, and it only takes 10 minutes to make. So ideally, by making Irish soda bread, you can put in more fiber. Yes, it uses buttermilk or sour milk that way, and a little bit of butter, but 10 minutes to use, and it doesn't have any sugar. So for any of those people who are out there that are looking for some sort of a carb, a little bit of a carb, whether it's with chilies or soups, because we had, split pea soup, and I made it for them, and he actually enjoyed it. So at times when we're looking at some of these healthy breads, very simple breads, they, taste like cardboard or something. But Irish soda bread doesn't have any sugar, takes 10 minutes to prepare once you get used to it, and then 30 minutes in the oven. Very, very simple that way. So today I really just wanted to talk about the sleeping aspect and how important sleeping is. And that is, I think, fundamentally the most important piece today in the talk was actually about sleeping. One other thing about sleeping is when you lay your head down to sleep, and at times, if you've watched a lot of television, and I'll share this experience because I purposely did this. I watched some crazy show, I guess crazy not for most of you who are watching these crime, drama, mystery, solving kind of murder mystery, so forth. But for me, it's kind of crazy to watch that stuff just before I go to bed. So then I experimented, and a couple times I would watch such things, and then I would go to lie down for bed. And my gosh, it's like I'm replaying some of the scenes. My mind wants to think about what happened, and just various things would pop in. I had to, after aware of all the thoughts that were kind of popping in from something I just watched, I really had to focus on clearing my mind, going blank. It was so apparent that the things that we do watch may be playing not only on my own mind, and now I was purposely kind of observing it, but on everybody else's mind. So it would depend on, what you're watching before you go to bed. No matter what it is that you're watching, pay attention to, what thoughts are coming from that as you're going to sleep. But that aside, there's also your day thoughts. And this is where, the work that I've done, be it, self-mastery work, I'll call it, because that's really what they call it, is that, quite often I'm dealing with kind of things during the day. But for a number of people, there are things that are coming on the mind for not only happened that day, but also happened, a day, 2 days ago. Maybe you did something you feel guilty over, or something that you are upset about. Somebody did it to you. Whatever it is, somebody cut you off. I mean, you could maybe hold on to that as you're going to bed. But here's the thing I want to kind of just, and I'm not going to say it's a challenge. I don't really want to say it's homework. But when you lie down and you close your eyes to go to sleep, pay attention to what thoughts are popping in. Just pay attention. They use this word observer, and I don't want to overuse that word, but just pay attention to what's kind of popping into your mind, as in what's keeping you up, what would make you feel, what's making you feel, and any negative stuff really bringing you down, didn't feel like you did enough in your day or achieved enough, and journal it. Put it down to see what kind of keeps cropping up for you. It's important for me as it's kind of like working now more and more last couple of years, life mentoring. I can't even come up with a name for it. But all of these things would really help to determine, or to not determine, but work towards understanding, where your mind is at, where your thoughts are at. One other thing with sleeping as well is, I would say, and you've probably heard these things, so I'm just going to kind of repeat them. We're just kind of packaging everything up for sleeping today, which is, yes, emptying the bladder. Yes, try to clear the mind, but pay attention to what kind of crops into your mind. But the other things are, how dark is your room? Because this plays on the hormones that are being produced, and that's important for getting the good sleep that you need. And that means healing, it means all of those stuff. And the other thing is lighting. Lighting in your room. You may have a clock. If you do have an alarm clock, as some people still do, it should be the red light. So the only thing kind of light oriented in your room, be it mostly the alarm clock, hopefully. I think most people here are probably past the night light, but you never know, right? You never know, is red light. So that is acceptable. The fifth thing, which I will say, we'll just go with 5 things. The fifth things I would say is computer and electronics. In my days, it was the stereo we had in our room. But today, more often, it may be some electronics, like computer or things. Just make sure all electronics are turned off in your room. And the rule of thumb I read one time was 6 feet away from your body. 6 feet away. So how many people put their phones, and I've seen my children, they're in the pillow next beside them underneath, or they're on the headstand. So I tell them 6 feet away, and it should be turned off completely. So there's actually nothing kind of coming in the way of EMFs. I'll share this with you because, even for me, I understood that a lot of the electricity that kind of comes in, even where the plugs are, there may be, it's live, right? It's live wires, that there actually may be some EMFs. And I'm not sure if you know what EMFs are, but you can look them up. Electromagnetic frequencies. And if they're coming through the plug, they're coming through the plug, which where I sleep, there's kind of like one on either side of the bed, which is not uncommon when you think of bedside lamps, right? So I actually moved to the other side of the bed. So my pillow is actually on the other side of the bed. That's the way I sleep now, because with the electricity coming up all in the walls, and I have this Gauss meter. And when I use the Gauss meter and I use the electrical things, it shows up. And this is just kind of measuring those electric magnetic frequencies. The best room in the house for not having this electrical stuff coming in is actually your shower. I guess it has to do with, special drywall, perhaps with the weatherproofing, water, rain, you got the tiles, and of course we don't have any plugs in our shower, and then you have the walls and the doors. So that kind of a shower, that was the lowest. So that's a good place to hang out if you don't want EMFs. Sing in the shower, have fun. But that's really what I wanted to talk today about. Was, yes, a little bit about the Irish soda bread sugar, and I'll post the blog down below because I believe I did put it on the blog, so you can have the recipe there. It's a lot of fun. Oh, kids could have a lot of fun with that. And sleepy, so those 5 things around sleeping that I just talked about. Yeah, was there something? Oh yeah, so the urinating trick. So try that urinating trick to empty your bladder. Practice that. And again, that's just above the crack, your ass crack, and just above there, and there's that spot right there. So just tickle it and see what happens for you. I'm very curious. Again, this is something I've kept to myself. Actually, seriously, I haven't thought too much about it. Really, not at all, except for those couple situations where people were stuck going, I can't go, but I want to go, and I want to make sure I don't go while I'm out and about. But that's it. So that's all I wanted to kind of cover off today. Sleeping is so important. It's how your body regenerates. It's how you're going to recharge your body, and that's important for your next day. That's important for healing, getting over things, having a stronger immune system, your hormonal homeostasis. Like just about everything relies on you going into deep sleep part of the time, the REM sleep part of the time. Dreaming is important, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to wish you the rest of the evening a good evening, and also for I'm just reading Ken. Many times the wires are at head height behind the headboard where the electrician has run the wire. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Ken, that is where they are. So good point on that. I mean, I'm not telling everybody to go get a $100, $200 Gauss machine, but you'll see the electrical wires there, and quite often they're not always running up. There's wires that are kind of going across. So good point. But yeah, all comments and anything like that, and I think I can actually read them here if there's any more up above. It was great to see everybody. So sleeping. So practice on the sleeping. Keep up with your chewing. I've talked about that and earlier live at 5s. Again, all of these are being uploaded onto YouTube. For me, it's just a casual way of sharing information, that kind of what pops in. I don't care to myself work on this for hours, just, to know what I'm going to say on this. I'm just going to kind of do some things even off the cuff with you. That's it. That's really it. So I'm going to wish you a wonderful evening again, a wonderful week until next week live at 5. Be well, sleep well, be well, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody next week. Take care. Bye for now. You're welcome, Diane.